Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another video. So I have been in this space the past few weeks of really focusing on identity, and this theme always comes up for me around the same time every single year. And I think that's primarily because my birthday is in August. It's a few weeks away. And so every year around this time, I really start to delve deeper into who I am. I start to reflect on, what I've given to the world thus far, where I am in my journey, reflecting on who I want to become and who I want to be, and really trying to figure out if where I am at this point in time every single year is where I want to be, right? And I find myself right now on the cusp of transition, where within just a few short months, life can change very drastically for me, and I'm welcoming it, right? When I did my last video, that was kind of the space where I was in that future place almost perpetually, and now I've kind of returned to self, and I've really started to consider, okay, what about myself? It's very easy to dream about the life you want and fantasize and imagine, but what about asking yourself, are you the person who is going to embrace that lifestyle or that partner or that dream? Are you that person that you want to be then, now, or are you on a journey of becoming that person yet? And so that's kind of the space I'm in. And this past weekend, I've really been exploring sexuality and my own sexuality, and I've asked myself certain questions throughout the past few years, but I haven't really allowed myself to explore the topics and to learn the information surrounding these things. Like when I first had my spiritual awakening, that spiritual awakening was catalyzed by me literally allowing myself to put myself in a space of exploration, exploring witchcraft, exploring tarot, exploring, divination, exploring all these taboo subjects from my upbringing that I never would have touched, and allowing myself to dive deeper and see what it's really about. Because when you're misinformed and you don't have any information about things, it's so easy to just make assumptions and never move beyond that. But when you choose actively to learn about things and then make an opinion afterwards, that's when you kind of create more of your identity, right? So I came to a point about a day or two ago where I was like, I allowed myself to explore when it came to magic and tarot, and I ended up loving it. But I haven't I've been putting a label on myself of bisexual, but I haven't actually explored what that means or really tried to understand queer spaces and queer history, and just understand just more in general of what it means. I may have an idea of what it means to me, but after watching a few podcasts from the Queer Collective, which definitely recommend, amazing, I found that some sentiments that they shared, I also shared, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not the only one who has experienced this or who feels this way. And so it's been very empowering, but needless to say, I wanted to create the energy of this video around identity as well. So I'm going to pull from a few different decks for you. This reading may come through in terms of me asking you questions, or maybe you getting answers to questions you've been asking yourself or your spiritual team. But I don't know. I'm just gonna go through it as I feel guided to. So let me move this a little bit closer. Sorry, my mic is right there. So when it comes to identity, I have so many decks, but the two decks that stand out to me the most are my inner child. Is this an inner child deck? I think it's inner child, but like in shadow work energy. And then I have my dark mirror oracle, which is also very heavy on shadow work. So these are two decks I personally really attribute to identity and going deeper within. I also have the True Seekers Tarot somewhere in my decks here. And then this is not usually a deck I use, but I have the Lover Oracle, which usually I use when I'm doing like love readings. But I want to do it as like a love letter to yourself, or what is your inner self kind of saying to you or wanting you to know, right? So there's that. I did really want to use some more oracles. And I've been eyeing my my first ever deck, which is an oracle deck. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Let me see if I can find the book. Okay, I cannot find the book for some reason. I might literally be staring at it. That's strange. I was thinking about it as I started, and I opened my drawer that has all my booklets in it, and I don't see the booklet, so perhaps I'm not meant to use it as I'd hoped, which is fine. What do we want to start with? Let's just start with this deck right here. Okay, so what is it that you need to know or explore for yourself right now? What do you need to know or explore for yourself right now? Okay, so the first card is procrastination. All right, procrastination. And I'm actually not going to read from the book for this one. We're just going to take it as face value. So perhaps there is something in your life that you are procrastinating on. It may be, as I was speaking about, something that you need to look into or explore, but you're choosing not to, or you're putting it off. Or maybe it's someone in terms of like communicating with someone, or even communicating with yourself. Maybe you're receiving directions from spirit to do certain things, but you're choosing not to. Maybe something like you should be meditating, or you should be exercising, or you should be making an effort in this area of your life, but you're choosing not to. And here comes Teddy. Teddy bear, what are you doing, Papa? And there he goes. All right, so I've had 3 cards that have jumped out in that time. These two were stuck together. We have family and tribe. So it may be procrastination in relation to someone in your family. Perhaps having a difficult conversation, perhaps going to see someone, perhaps just some matter concerning family, or concerning friends or people you consider as family. Your tribe, perhaps it's procrastination in terms of finding your tribe. Perhaps spirit has been telling you need to get out there, you need to make more of an effort in communicating with certain people, or opening yourself up to new experiences, and you're choosing not to. I'm definitely in that boat. But I'm not being guided to connect with anyone, especially because my transition period comes with also moving, so I'm really not in the energy right now of making any new friends. Here, okay, this is interesting. So we have this question: how teachable are you? And in this picture, she's looking at a violin, almost like she wants to play it, but isn't quite, like, not sure if she wants to, not sure if she's willing to. How teachable are you? Violin makes another appearance in the next card. This is actually all very fun and interesting. Hold on, I put these cards out of order. All right, so how teachable are you? Maybe it's procrastination of learning a new skill, or going back to school, perhaps. Maybe that is something that you feel you need to do, but you're not making an effort to out of fear. Maybe because your family or tribe has told you that it is not worthwhile. How teachable are you? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to adjust? Are you willing to be in a difficult and uncomfortable position? Are you willing to be the student? Maybe you're someone who is kind of famous for knowing it all or feeling like you have everything understood or put together. And you're really being challenged to be humble and to be in a space of learning and receiving from others rather than giving. Okay, and then this one is discover your life purpose. And again, the violin makes a recurrence, and this gentleman is playing the violin. So it could also be a procrastination of actually allowing yourself to explore your purpose. This has been a question that has been constant in my life. What is my purpose? Especially as someone who dealt with suicidal thoughts for much of my teenage life, and the sense of like hopelessness and depression and not feeling like I belonged anywhere. It was a constant like prayer, both when I was in Christianity, praying to Christian gods, to where I am now, and just praying in general. It's like, what am I meant to do? And I've actually discovered different portions of that throughout my life, kind of coming again to this transitionary point of like it all coming to a head. But really allow yourself to sit with that question. Your procrastination might be just as simple as like not sitting still or not asking certain questions because you don't want to know the answer. I think we can get to this point where we feel something in ourselves that like we have to do something. We know we have to do something, but we don't quite want to face it because maybe if we ignore it, it won't happen, or, you know, it won't interrupt the lives we've created for ourselves. But it's like that interruption needs to happen. If I feel this energy of like someone who almost like maybe a housewife or someone who is very comfortable in the space that they're in right now, and it might even be this family tribe energy. You've grown your family, you have a home, you have, you know, a great job or a great partner, and everything's perfect, and you feel this call into something completely new, whether it's moving somewhere completely different or making a completely different like career change or life change. And it's just like, why now? Like everything is perfect just as it is. Why is this coming up for me now? Why do I suddenly feel discontent? Why do I suddenly feel like I need to do this thing? And you may be tempted, or you may even be in the process of putting it off or ignoring it, ignoring those feelings, ignoring those sentiments, because it would be too difficult to deal with right now. It would be much too frustrating and challenging to deal with it. And so you're just not touching it. And even with that example I gave, it could be that you've created this perfect lifestyle, but it has nothing to do with your purpose. Or you've been ignoring your purpose for so long because maybe you've created a purpose around this role that you fulfill, and only to reach maybe a certain age, like your 30s or 40s, and suddenly feel like this is actually not at all what I was supposed to do. Don't allow yourself to get into that space of maybe I've wasted my life. I feel like things are meant to come up at certain times for a reason. And if you truly did put something off for so long, but it's still coming up for you, then you still have a reason to do it, right? For example, I have known since I was a child that I wanted to become a doctor, right? And since then, I've gone through experiences where my final year of school was delayed, and I didn't get to go to medical school at the time I wanted to. And since then, I've learned so much more about different modalities. And I can look back and recognize that I needed all those paths, those changes in my path to get to where I am now, of having a new career aspiration, still in the same area, but with a different purpose. And even in the past few days, to have narrowed down that purpose a little bit more. And it's just been empowering, like, okay, I know what I'm meant to do. So sometimes your experiences feed into your purpose or your sense of purpose and understanding what it is that you want to do in this lifetime, right? Okay. So once again, we had procrastination, family and tribe. How teachable are you? And discover your life purpose. Okay, now I'm going to do the Dark Mirror Oracle. I'm seeing another deck that's sticking out to me right now, so I'm going to pull those before I forget about it. Dark Mirror Oracle is usually darker energy, I don't want to say darker, it's not like evil or anything, it's just like darker themes, darker topics. So what is it that you need to face? Maybe what is it that you've been procrastinating and putting off or ignoring? Right? Ooh. So we have Queen of My Worlds. And once again, I won't be reading from the guidebook. Queen of My World. So we have a lady dressed in red with a white spear. I don't think that's gonna show up quite. Oh, it does a little bit. Queen of My World. Maybe you've been quite literally in your own world, kind of being the master of your fate, living life as however you've wanted, and now it's like a time of transition to perhaps working with others or introducing something new into your world. Maybe you've been kind of self-absorbed. I don't think there's anything wrong specifically with that, as long as it harms no one else. We have Queen of My World. Okay, a few different cards about that, so I'm going to shuffle that again. Okay, we have Black Flower Fragrance. This is one that would probably be more described by the guidebook. However, this person does have these black flowers kind of growing from their heart. So it gives this energy, this feeling of someone who's kind of closed off their heart, or whose heart has been kind of thorny. So even connecting back to the family and tribe and procrastination cards, it could be that you've had a rocky relationship with your family or family members and kind of been in your own space. Maybe you've been separated from them or have gone no or low contact, and there's this sense of needing to communicate or talk with them, and yet you've been putting it off because there's a level of pain associated with that person or with that energy. We have Peaceful Among Thorns. So that energy of thorns comes up again. Let me see if I can make it. So in terms of like family, it could be that your family were your thorns in your side, that they were those who maybe mocked you or ridiculed you or just made you feel absolutely terrible. Another thing that's coming up in a different kind of energy, different kind of light, is that perhaps you were putting off your purpose, putting off your learning something or doing something because of how your family has made you to feel throughout your life. Maybe you've been ridiculed and treated poorly to such a degree that you've closed yourself off in your heart, and you have made yourself kind of cold to life and to everything related to your purpose. Maybe you felt unworthy or unwilling to put yourself out there because of how your family has treated you. Peaceful among thorns, though, kind of gives the feeling of superseding or elevating above it, not being affected by it anymore, either by distance or just simply not caring. Okay, that might be all. Yeah, I think that is all. Okay. Black flower fragrance also gives me this energy of like almost like a rose scent, but in a kind of death kind of way. So it could also be that you are someone who maybe you've experienced a death in your family, or there was a death of someone or something in your life that caused division and caused the separation from either your family or from your purpose or sense of purpose, like grieving or a loss of faith. Okay. Not too much more now, because it's a bubble. We'll go down, whichever one. I feel like I'm only gonna be doing 2 more decks, or 3. The deck that I pulled was, I know it has an Ankh on it, but it's not an Ankh deck. It is something to do with like, the word is right there. Reincarnation. I don't remember specifically, I'm sorry. I got this from Facebook Marketplace, and I have the box somewhere, but I'm sorry. If you ever want to know the names of these decks, I'm definitely willing to get you the correct name. I just have to do a little bit of research, but definitely let me know. Alright, so first card we have release and let go. So that's interesting. Release and let go. So again, it might be in relation to family or tribe, a level of pain, frustration, something in relation to something blocking you from your purpose or blocking you from being able to receive, being able to be taught something new. Maybe it is that your spirit guides, your higher self, maybe a mentor in your life is trying to coach you or teach you or bring you into this next level, but you're unwilling to move because of this darkness in your past or something that you've experienced that makes it difficult for you to receive, makes it difficult for you to move forward. So we have release and let go. The next card was magic and alchemy. It was in the reverse, so perhaps you feel disconnected from magic in your own life. Perhaps there's kind of a loss of magic. Again, this sense of like darkness, being in darkness, being eclipsed by darkness, and not feeling like you're seeing anything positive in your life. Alchemy, also in terms of like, transforming and transmuting energies might be something you feel incapable of. In terms of this letting go, it's almost like you need to go through a process of transmuting that pain and that hurt into something better, into something that can fuel you to your purpose, if you know what I mean. We have Oracle Library. When I saw this, I thought of the Akashic Records. So you may need to go into your Akashic Records or just into your past in general. Like, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I've had experiences, especially as I've been diving deep into identity, where certain memories that I have completely forgotten, they are not in my conscious mind whatsoever, have been coming up. Even just for brief moments, like, oh my goodness, I completely forgot that ever happened in my life. So there may be some memories that are kind of filed away that are fueling your subconscious and unconscious actions or thoughts or feelings that need to be addressed. Again, you can work with your guides to bring it up. You can pray, for those things to come up, and just recognize that they may not come up right then and there, and they might not come up in a way that you expect. I recently prayed to Sekhmet for help bringing up the injustices and the things that would make me angry, so that I can face them and I can transmute them and work with them. And it hasn't really come up not too much yet. I don't think I've really allowed myself to be open. Even though I made that prayer, I haven't been in a space of allowing that to come through anyway. But one memory did come up today that made me realize, well, it's definitely surrounding my relationship towards men, and why I don't gravitate towards men in general. But as I think about it, I'm like, in those moments I felt angry because of how I was being used. And I don't feel angry at the moment, but it's like, just remembering that was like, oh wow, I'd completely forgotten that had happened. But that is significantly affects how I interact with men and why I don't go close to certain men or men in general. So point being, even though you open yourself up to that, allow yourself to be open to it, for one, but it may not come in the way that you expect, and it may even take much longer than you anticipated taking to see and feel and to have all those things come up. But really seek out those memories, because I feel like that may be significant for you. So I did have 2 cards fall out here. I was thinking of ignoring them. I think I will. So we have angels and we have wealth and abundance. This may be a message for someone. Maybe this may be confirmation of something you need. Maybe the wealth and abundance might be tied to family, like an inheritance. I know I spoke of death. Angels, you might be called to connect with certain angels. You might be called to connect to certain angels or pray to certain angels for help dealing with these emotions or gaining clarity on certain aspects. Okay, now we're gonna do the Lover's Oracle. This may or may not be accurate whatsoever, but let's see. What does this person need to know, or what are they feeling that maybe is going unnoticed? Okay. We have drama that came out. It literally just says drama. So maybe whatever happened was dramatic, or it just feels like that part of your life was dramatic and you don't want to deal with it. We have, I'm stuck in visions of us together. So this may be concerning an event that happened in your life that was very traumatic, and you kind of keep replaying or keep seeing it all over again. Or it could be kind of like a past relationship that is kind of keeping you from moving forward, or that you can't let go of. And I think this confirms it. We have life without you is hopeless and dark and depressing. I miss your light. So this quite literally, you might be someone dealing with grief and loss of someone that you loved very much. Or this might be you speaking to your past self, maybe a past version of you that you miss, and now everything is kind of dark and empty. Okay, so 4 more cards fell out. You don't have to resonate with all of these. You have, I wish I could be a different person. Again, this might be you feeling this towards yourself. We have, this love is crazy. If I could go back in time, I would handle us differently. Again, whatever resonates, whether it's about a family, a relationship. And then we have, I want out. Out of a situation, out of a relationship, out of this space you're in your own mind. This loop, perhaps, that you're playing in your own mind of something that happened in the past. Alright, so this deck, this I can really show you. It's literally yes or no oracle cards. It's a new deck. I haven't really messed around with it too much. The energy isn't quite, I guess you could say, attuned, but I figured I could use it for whoever might have a yes or no question, or you may want to ask a certain question. So I would just encourage you to maybe pause the video and ask a question, or I don't know, think of a question as I'm shuffling. I'm going to let 3 cards pop out. So maybe you might want to ask 3 questions. Maybe, let's see. So ask your first question. Again, this may not necessarily apply to you. It may not be a definite yes or no. Take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so the first one is no. And it says, currents too strong, find solid ground. Okay, question number 2. Again, you can pause if you'd like. Shuffle. Okay, we have yes. Wisdom supports you. Roots go deep. Okay, and question number 3. Again, pause or ask. Okay, and we have yes. Sweet satisfaction, good taste, savoring it. Alright, so those are your 3 cards. I think I might maybe integrate these a little bit into readings a little bit more. I don't know, I think they're fun cards. They look fun, at least. So yes, that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video whenever I decide to upload, because I don't seem to be able to get on a schedule. I really just, post when I have a burning feeling that I should. So I'll see you in the next video, and have a great day.